So it was a good lesson learned from there. Okay, this was work in progress. Be ready to have a 10-wheeler drop like a bunch of horse manure on your front, on your driveway. We did exactly that, and all that went to the back of the house to help build that raised garden bed. And then, okay, right now we're getting like bees. All these other creatures are loving the place. This colony swarmed into our property from I don't know where. And I keep bees too, like, I mean, more hives out in Escondido. So I removed them alive, and I was able to take them to a bigger organic farm where I have all these other beehives. Go ahead. And then we get real nice honey from the hive. So you can get your sugars, your proteins, your veggies, your herbs. It's almost you only need to go to the shop for I don't know what. Okay, so that's I think my pictures gave a quicker story, but the thing is we need to want to do this stuff. If you don't want to do it, nothing will happen. You need to be ready to wait, and you need to be discouraged and go beyond discouragement. You need to also value your time, because I value my time working on this than working 8 hours a day somewhere for money that I'll spend to buy the same stuff. So I'd rather stay at home and grow it and don't need to buy it. So that's the essence, and that's in an urban setting. My background is I lived in a big farm. We had wild animals growing in our land, even up to date. So this is a deficiency. I'm trying to farm on a very little space. He calls me an oxen driver because, I mean, we farm with the oxen. I gave him a picture of me with oxen, and I think that's what got him excited. But I'm used to a system where we had all the land we needed to farm. All the chickens just grazed out there. We didn't care to fence off anything. There's grazing land for the cattle. There's water points within the property. So that tells me that I think there's an imbalance. We needed to kind of meet in the middle. The way the urban systems have been designed does not encourage farming. People don't have the space to farm at all, even if you want to. So I think for a longer term, we should engage urban planners to have that in mind. There's a struggle right now to even have community gardens, because it didn't go into the overall urban planning process. So I think that's my new thing, is like, let's put all these gardening things. People have lived with animals and plants, I don't know since when, and there's no way we can just build skyscrapers with no plants and animals around us. So we should think about legislation allowing small livestock like chickens and bees, and we are just built to live with plants and animals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Malaki. That was very inspiring. Okay, so Shelley's going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to have some questions. And I want to say a couple things about living in an intentional community, which is what I do. I have a community 4 blocks from here called the Enchanted Garden Intentional Community, and we'd love to see you come over and garden with us and get to know. We want to be a place that offers a service for San Diego State. Okay, let's next hear from Shelley Stewart, who is growing backyard chickens. Very exciting to have you here, Shelley.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Was everybody at the plenary just now? No? Okay, who wasn't at the plenary? Okay, so just a quick background. Sorry for the duplication. Okay, my name's Shelley Stewart, and I'm relatively new to the food justice movement. The quick and dirty background is I had a child, and I became very concerned about what to feed that child, and so in the process of that discovery, I basically started raising food myself because I couldn't figure out the answers. There was lots of conflicting information out there, and so I'm like, okay, forget about it. I'm just going to do it myself, and maybe that'll work for me. And it's going pretty good so far, but what I can provide for you guys is kind of a newcomer's perspective to, you know, growing food and raising chickens. And in general, what's the experience level in this room? How many people would say, okay, how many people currently are growing food? And so sort of, that's awesome. That's so exciting to see. And how many people are here because they want to learn how and they don't necessarily know how to get into? Okay, so everybody has an avenue where you don't want to, okay, great, brave one back there, doesn't necessarily know how to get started. So this is kind of what I ran into when we got started. It's really overwhelming. You're like, how do I grow food? What do chickens eat? What do I feed them? I mean, it's the same thing like having a child, you know, you just don't know where to start. And it seems that we've kind of gotten to a place in society where we require a consultant or we require an expert to tell us, and one day you're miraculously an expert, and then you can go forth and conquer. Then you can go forth and grow food, and you can raise chickens. Well, how do you get to that destination point if you don't try? If you don't put something in the ground and accidentally kill it because you didn't give it enough light or you didn't give it enough food. Obviously, you don't want to do that with your children. but with plants, you know, it's a different situation. And so we kind of jumped in, we meaning my husband and I kind of jumped in like both feet and really took on the entire movement all at once. And I don't actually recommend you do that. I recommend choose something and you know, start small so you can have momentum and so you can really experience the successes and so it can build on itself and really kind of move your personal urban homesteading forward. I took on a garden and chickens and bees all at the same time and kind of ran myself into the ground. It's got a little, a little type A. But I would recommend that, you know, pick something that's interesting to you, something that you can have a connection with the process as well. The exciting thing for me about urban homesteading, particularly growing food, is you start to look at your city differently. You know, it kind of reacquaints you with nature. Chickens, for instance, there's predators in the city, and they're around all the time, and they were around before I had chickens, before I was aware of it. And it's very interesting to be out in the yard, and the behavior of the flock changes, and you look around, you got two hawks flying up above. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in the front yard with other people, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, and they're like, what are you looking at? I'm like, didn't you see that? No, because we're in the city, we're really disconnected with the world that's going on around us, that's there all the time. So I'm really grateful for that experience with chickens in particular, with the urban homesteading. And then with growing food in particular, you start to look at your urban spaces completely differently. You know, you're out for a walk and you see a little planter in full sun that's, you know, has weeds growing in it. It's like, I could put something in there, I bet. Or, you know, you start looking at your school grounds completely differently. All these vast lawns. And, you know, I come from a really mainstream background. You know, I didn't have anybody really kind of opening my eyes until we moved to the house that we're at. And fortunately, there's a gentleman, Mel Lyons, who's the director of San Diego Roots, and Julia Dash, who's really involved with Seeds at City College. They were these wonderful mentors who kind of, you know, as I had questions, steered me in the right directions. And I'm really grateful for their ear and for their insight and their patience and their lack of judgment as, you know, as I wasn't an expert, and that's okay. It's okay for us to not be born with the knowledge to grow food. I mean, we've done it for thousands of years, but we have a disconnect from our food system, and we've lost that information when we start farming, when we start farming as a community. So that's just simply where we're at. So I would encourage everyone to kind of be patient with yourself, recognize that, you know, you're not born with this information, but you can start with something. You can put a plant in the ground and harvest it and eat it. It's not that hard, and then maybe the next time it's 2 plants. You know, I kind of think of